sustainable tourism. We need to get to non-social revulsion tourism. Then don't get the tuk-tuk or the jeep. Walk up from Sintra through the fascinating hillside. It's a shared experience. People want to talk through that shared experience. You meet people. The road route, you get a native English speaker that's trying to finance their retirement from a college-educated job with something that's beneath them, and they feel hard done by. They've said this speech 1,000 times before, and it just feels tired. It makes you feel tired. It's quite exhilarating, bolder scenery, the walk, with a few gangs of mountain climbers to animate the way. Sintra, the very touristy village at the bottom of the hill where everyone gets the ride up to the Peña Palace. It's nice, there is something there. There's intense selling of lunch. There's another palace or two of very different styles. There's every chance when you're visiting Peña Palace that you can start your day late, having a little lie-in or a cuddle, make your way to Sintra. Oh, I'm feeling hungry, let's have something. Have some wine, walk, or wait to get the tuk-tuk or bus. Walk all the way through the grounds, and you've missed the chance to get inside the palace. Last call, last orders. Perhaps they could open it for longer hours of the day, so it's a nighttime thing. Perhaps I've missed the point, and the sunset is everything. It often is. The sunset takes a long time. There's no guarantee, and in the twilight, other photos are going to be rubbish. I'm not sure if it's really the place where you can just experience its beauty. It's an object, and a poorly maintained object at that almost. It needs painting too often. It's exposed to the Atlantic wind and rain. But that old town, Sintra, is some way up from Sintra, the town where the public transport goes to from Lisbon. So you've got quite a lot of public transport lag between getting from Lisbon to Sintra, new town, if you like, public transport hub, up to Sintra, old town. Then there's getting up from Sintra, old town, to Peña Palace. Then there's getting from the entrance to Peña Palace grounds up to Peña Palace itself. Then you've got another wait to get inside. People do duck and dive out of the way, so you can have mostly a picture of your loved one, and not a picture of their ear hole, I suppose. But everyone can't, and inevitably you have to wonder why you want a picture of those people that you've never spoken to on your mantelpiece, alongside your travel experience like you're family. But your fellow tourists is part of the appeal of such a scenario. The oldest, wealthiest, most time-pressed of the Americans pay for a private whiz-round. It's probably different in summer. There weren't quite the same number of K-pop there that I was expecting. They always put on their best glad rags and makeup for their selfies, but then so does a lot of the population of Europe now. None of this take me as you find me. The people like a window dressing on a piece of architecture. But when tourism money doesn't go too deep, the locals are poorer and they don't get the opportunity to go to their own landmarks. Of course they do. That's partly why the price is affordable. The weekend day trippers. Perhaps it was a day when But there's an over-tourism backlash in Portugal, just the same as in Spain. Tourism movements are multiplying amongst the world's most visited countries. Began an indefinite hunger strike recently to put pressure on the authorities to defend the treasure. Yeah, small islands were built on slavery and later tourism. Uncontrolled development harms the environment everywhere. The unsustainable tourism is partly to do with the method of travel of getting there, but it's destroying the thing that you're admiring. A suicidal growth model. It develops a social revulsion. Sun and beach tourism is perhaps one of the oldest. You see unfriendly graffiti slogans. This used to be my home. Go home have appeared around Malaga. Spain's got its own problem with over-tourism and reactions to it, and new laws being implemented to try and solve it. Portugal's over-tourism problem is more few and far between. There's the tourist tax, obligatory throughout Europe almost. There's the Airbnb problem, that they take it upon themselves, that they don't have to pass on any identity of the person that's staying in your property, but you get reclassified. Your whole building, the property, gets reclassified by the council, the junta, as something that's not your home. But you don't ever get the passport details, like in an actual bed and breakfast hotel, of the persons that impose that on you. You get taxed for this. Never really a business, more of a hobby, more of a parasitic dream. The number of flats that get put away from locals to rent. It's not just your place when you're not there, it's your other place that you want to be trouble-free, but it's all easy to see Portugal as the poorer, nicer cousin of the two. And of course I wasn't there, but I'm not really sure we show so much obviousness to the extensive graffiti around Lisbon and the beach towns. I think they know they're a poor cousin and they're slightly grateful. There's fake signs, risk of falling rocks or dangerous jellyfish. You don't really think that Google Maps are politically influenced, but they certainly are. You can have certain bus routes removed from Google Maps, so it lets local people have a seat. Those busy areas can be, throb on your phone there, they can be influenced and manipulated. People head towards that area. It can take people out into the suburbs a little bit. I know I've fallen for it. Busy areas throb even when they're not. We all drink coffee, we all use Airbnb, but it's a menace. Worsening housing shortage and rents soar in town centres. We cause noise and environmental pollution, and taxes resources such as water. There was water all around during the storm of my visit to Lisbon, but Peña Palace didn't miss it. But when it came to drinking the water, I'd dilute my orange juice. The local water gave me the squits. Water has to be treated to get to our tap. Sustainable tourism. We need to get to non-social revulsion tourism. There's always a tour group in sight, isn't there? Quite one tour guide for one couple. That feels most natural. They're the ones that I like to sit and freely listen to. They're often quite enigmatic, educated people that perhaps despair at how little we're interested. Just show us the best restaurants, with the best Time Out reviews. Oh, Lisbon's Time Out market, even in winter, is so packed, it's mental. It really is mental. The only place that I've seen to compare it to, and it's much poorer, is Heathrow Airport's Witherspoon pub. And you need to times the area of that at least by 4. It's really quite the party, where no one knows anyone else and isn't really interested in getting to know anyone else because they're all in their social little clique. Americans. America loves Portugal partly because it's cheap Europe. It's the same as anywhere else. Americans, eventually, it gets expensive. They've got to be flash, haven't they? Because we're not like you. We're better than you. We don't want to be seen as being like you, but we want to be here. And for some short period of time, use what is yours. And your forefathers, what they and their slaves created, when we've created nothing really of worth, other than a little bit of yield. For people on La Ramblas, is nightclub-like. There's a frisson to it. It's exciting. The jeopardy, the danger, the rubbing shoulders with people that wouldn't really usually give you the time of day. It's good for them. But all over Europe, local, glamorous people weren't out. But everyone was nice and polite, especially in the gardens. Much more so in the gardens, I thought. The palace itself, much more of a high-stress selfie environment. There is no real difference between tourists and travellers. The second perhaps spend less money and less use for their destructive capabilities. Make something popular, and you do exponentially increase its popularity. But there is a break uneven point where it just gets too much. The decay gives the thing that's so popular a limited lifespan. In your town, or a town that you've visited, There's often a thing that it's lucky to touch it. In my hometown, there's a sculpture of a rather bull-like stag and a rather cowering-looking rabbit, and it seems that it's very lucky on this bronze to touch the codpiece of the stag. So it's obviously a very shiny codpiece now, not the dull bronze colour. Now, when this is all modelled on, it's just a blob from people standing on each other's shoulders, taking a selfie and touching the owl. It's just a blob of stone, shiny blob of stone. And this can happen to whole cities. They decay through overuse. Flash photography can ruin paintings and furniture, soft furnishings, as did smoking once upon a time. But we've faced up to that one. The cleaning of those smoke-damaged paintings can ruin them. But seeing a city as a tourist, it's a bit like only cleaning the face of a painting or something and then not worrying about the rest of it. Seeing a city as tourism doesn't go very deep into an economy. That's the main problem. Tuk-tuks and tourist trams. You know, those ones. I want to have that picture on Instagram, view at Peña Palace. It's fairy tale. That fairy tale princess, she's a street walking sex worker. Industrial scale. Too many people, even in winter. You wait in a queue for tea and coffee. You wait in a queue to take your photo in one of the cute little guardsman turrets. And I felt so intimidated inside the palace in a hurry, super scurry. But I think I missed a part of it. You're just walking up and down a runway, sectioned off with ropes anyway. You're not really experiencing the ballroom space. That drive around empty. Peña Palace might be the jewel of Lisbon, the jewel of Portugal that everyone wants to see. It will be ruined first. It has a... sit on the fence and spout both sides. Non-revulsion tourism. Is this where our freedom's got us to? Once the thing that we're visiting is eroded, how is it really different when it's recreated to Las Vegas or the copies in China? Over tourism, excessive tourism. Lisbon is so full.